welcome back to another video, and this is part 2 of doing the inlet manifold injectors, and we're going to be doing some more bits as well. So let me show you what else we are going to do while we've got the inlet manifold off, and it's probably worth doing because we don't know when it was done last. So what are we going to be doing? So we're going to be changing the thermostat in here because it's a lot easier to do it with the inlet manifold off, and we have a new OEM plastic one of these, and then we have a new OEM this plastic one as well, and we have a new of this plastic one as well. I know people say, why don't you get the alley ones and stuff like that? Well, I've heard mixed stories with the alley ones. Some of them ain't that good, and to be fair, if the original plastic lasted 20 plus years, that's good with me. So first of all, what we do is we will crack on. We're changing the thermostat housing, sort out all those coolant joiners and stuff like that. And then we start banging the car back together. But first of all, I just want to seal the cups back into the manifold so that it gives that some time to start setting. So we'll probably do that first and then we'll do the coolant. Right, let's do it.
So these are the parts that we're going to be fitting, some new parts. And you can see we've got a PHENOLIC spacer there. So I thought I might as well put that on while we've got the inlet manifold off. It just made sense.
So a few of you have asked in the comments on the last video and over other social media platforms, what were the baskets like that came off the injectors? Well, let me show you. I've got 3 of them here. The 4th one I can't find. It must have gone flying somewhere. So let me show you the condition of them. They've gone sort of like a reddy pinky sort of colour. I'm sure they would have been white to start with. So I think that was definitely well worth changing those.
Let's get those injector cups in. So what you want to use is some high temperature thread sealant. Don't force the cups in because you will ruin the threads. So on the second one here, it didn't want to go in first of all. So what I did, I moved on to another one. And then I came back to it. And it went in absolutely fine.
Right, well that's those in. Let's now move on to the next job.
So now let's start tackling that thermostat. So hose clamp off and then trying to get the housing off, which was a pain. It's that bottom bolt. It's an absolute nightmare. But new thermostat in, put the seal on, push all that back on. Happy days. Again, bottom bolt, nightmare getting to, alternate right in the way, but it is doable. And I believe this is torqued to 15 Newton meters, but obviously you couldn't get a torque wrench on the bottom one, so I torqued the top one up and felt the sort of resistance on that and sort of tightened the bottom one to a similar sort of resistance, and then put the hose back on.
Well, that's the thermostat on, and that bottom bolt was a pain.
So now we're just going to start tackling the other ones to remove the coolant temperature sensor and obviously any clips in the way.
Well, that's the 2 other old ones out. So a bit of a mess down here. But let's try and get this all put back together before I forget how it came out. So that is the new ones fitted. I would love to have filmed a little bit more of that, but it's such a difficult thing to film because I've got so much in the way. I've got vacuum lines, I've got catch can lines, I've got so much stuff in the way. So I couldn't really pick up too much on the camera. But let's get that tidied up and then we can crack on with getting the inlet on, get the injectors in, and actually seeing whether this car's actually going to start.
So I thought I'd put a new air temp sensor in, Bosch part, same part number as the one that came out, and cleaned up the manifold. Obviously I painted it, so I just wanted to clean up if there's any paint that's gone on it and just generally give it a nice clean surface. And obviously a new OME gasket. On goes the throttle body. Then tighten it all down to 10 Newton meters. And then in goes the new air temp sensor. Found a little bit of paint in the hole, so just put the bolt in, clean the thread out, and then it went straight in.
And we're going to put this on as well, the finishing touch. I've had this for a while, Another Quantum Quality Solutions billet aluminium part. So this is 100% going on, and I was waiting to do this before this went on. So let's get this on as well. Just a case of double sticky tape on the back, like that. And there she goes. That is our manifold all put together. So let's go and put this on the car.
So one new OEM gasket down, and then the PHENOLIC spacer on top of that one. And then another gasket between the PHENOLIC spacer and the inlet manifold. I did notice that if you push the spacer up slightly, it does make it like match the ports so much better, as you can see. So just remember, if you're fitting one of those, to push it up slightly before you tighten it down on the manifold. And I put this little module on the back, which was upside down, but I managed to change that once I had it all back together anyway. It wasn't too bad. So that was upside down, but we sorted it. Then I put the new Vac Lines on with new clips.
I think everything under there is connected, but we have got a few negatives. The inlet's got a bit scratched up, so I'll see if I can sort that out. So now I think it's time to pop the new bolts in.
I did feel a little bit let down by 034 Motorsport. The bolts didn't come with the washers like the originals did, and the two nuts on the outside did not fit. They were too small, so I did have to use the originals, but I put a little bit of Loctite around them as well. So just remember to push that spacer up again to line the ports up much better before tightening down. So then we just torque this all down to 10 Newton meters.
Right, we're getting there. That is the manifold on. So now we've got to get those injectors in, get that bolted down, check anything else, plug everything else in, and we should be good, I think. Maybe, possibly. Maybe touch up that inlet manifold. See what we can do with that. Right, let's get on with it.
So now it's time to start fitting the injectors. Push them in, don't push them all the way down. There's some locating slots in the side of them for the clips to go on. You'll see what I mean when you do yours. On with the clips, boom, and then just put the two bolts down. I torqued these down to 10 Newton meters as well. Why not? Everything else seems to be 10 Newton meters. And then push the fuel lines back in, click those in, and then put the charge pipe back on. And then connect anything else to the charge pipe and do up all those jubilees. Now let's bolt down the strut brace.
All back together, put some coolant in it and see if it actually starts. Let's connect the battery up and see what happens. Well, it started, that's something, isn't it?
So now let's just check to make sure we've got no coolant leaks. Checking all those new parts we fitted. It's all looking okay. No leaks there. Can't see any leaks there. Injectors look fine. Let's have a look underneath the car. No leaks from underneath the car. Happy days. So now I just let the car run till the fans kick in, just to make sure the system was bled and we had no air in it. So I'm just taking the TT out after doing all that stuff, and it is a success. Everything is working. The car started fine. Well, a little bit of a lumpy sort of start to start with, but one started all good. And I think that cam position sensor as well definitely helps, because it started on the button every time now. So I think that did sort out the little long starting problem that I did have. But car seems to be running really well, to be honest with you, doing those injectors and stuff. So I probably would recommend those parts that I've used, because they are doing what they're supposed to do. Happy days. So all good. Oh, this is quite funny. Just been to Guildford to have a Burger King, my mate, and we're stopped by another TT. So I don't know if it's someone that watches my videos or follows me on any socials, or I follow them, but what a nice looking 3.2. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.